Vacant. If you can hear me, it's fine. You don't need to come out. But let me go ahead and take this off. Let's talk. Last match. The steel cage match.
Call the paramedics. This one is just about over. Don't do it!
You could have won it. I know you could have. All you had to do was swing your leg right over, drop down on the ground, and that's it. You could have won. And I admit, it made me puzzled. It made me question, like, why would you do something like that? And let me tell you something. Do you mind if I tell you a story? Once upon a time, there was a guy, and he was worse than a nobody. He had nothing to him. No great a deed, no great writing, no nothing. But you know what made him even worse than a nothing? He was a quitter. He had no great deeds because he already quit at the starting line. He had no great writings because he kept putting it off. Like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I don't know what to write. Oh, I don't know what to think. And so his writings would die on the side. He had nothing because he aspired to nothing. That is why he was worse than nothing. And so he coasted through life. He coasted through his days. He was okay with being nothing because he couldn't even think of doing something. He kept quitting. He kept having excuses. He kept having everything done by easy mode because that is what he was used to. That was what he was aspired to. That's the only thing he had. That was the only thing that he could even dream of. And then, one day, he had an opportunity to be someone. The opportunity to wear this belt. And all he had to do was to crush someone else. You see, our culture, it demands something to be the best. It demands something to be number one. And then it demands everything else to be crushed underneath. That was the culture. And that is the culture that is still today. So that guy, he was nothing. He was a nobody. But at least he liked to believe if the chips were down, if he could rise up, he could become more. Then he would then show himself that he was at least a good guy. Well, there he had it. He had the opportunity. He had the ability, the chance to prove that he could rise above. Or you can go ahead and be like every other time. See opportunity and be a quitter. And now that guy stands before you today because he recognizes that quitting spirit right in you. That was what happened on that top of the cage, wasn't it? Because you have been changing, and you have been growing. Before, you didn't even say anything, and when we first met. And yet now, here you are. You telling me that you hate me, that you want to wrestle me, that you want to fight against me. You know what that says? That's not nothingness. That's someone. That is something. And it needs to be grown. It needs to be cultured. It needs to be cultivated. But it is in danger of dying, man. And no offense, I am not going to let you do that. I am not going to let myself do that. This belt is more than prestige. This belt is a promise that he will never go back to those days where he was just a quitter, where he was a nobody. He promised to himself, he promised that this belt meant that he was going to be different, that he would help others become different. And standing before me today, hey, I swear to you that I will make you different. And that will be what happens on Sunday. You see, win or lose, there will be changes. If I win, you know what happens. You will lose. And you will have to go out into the world. And you will have to be more than vacant. But if you win, then I know that I failed. But that will be okay. Because even without this belt, I will not quit. I will not run away. Hey, I will face down on tomorrow. And so will you. Because that is what it means to be a champion. That is what it means to be the existence that rises above, that becomes more. Or that ability, that drive to be different, to be better, to not give up. So, I ask you, this Sunday, in Hell in a Cell, will you be ready to fight?